We're back. I think we're in a new year now. Can't remember the last time I recorded one. But either way, I remember now we're back to babysitting. So should be getting close to the end here.
Good morning to you, Luke.
All right, I'm ready for another break. Speak of the devil, and she shall appear. Bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, Kylie grins up at me as soon as I open the bedroom door. She swings the backpack she's clutching, hitting my leg in a show of impatience and looking entirely unapologetic for it.
Did you just wake up? Don't tell me you forgot. It's our play date today.
I doubt I'd forget. Kylie's visits are a frequent enough thing that they found a way into my schedule. They're supposed to be visits to her godmother. But we can't pick who a child gets along with. So long as I'm not busy, her father can drop her off for the day. Which is all well and good for me, if it makes Suarez focus on the work I've given him. Besides, she's a bright child, tolerable. Kid's got a good head on her shoulders, and can get pretty mature for her age at times. Of course, they have me to thank for that. Her parents can take partial credit, but Hannah and I have been for this kid since she was just a small babe. Why, I can still remember the first time I saw her. It was during her baptism. The only reason I was there was to accompany Hannah, who was to be named godmother. She was such a tiny thing, not even a year old, and swaddled in her mother's arm in white cloth. It was the first time I really saw an infant up close enough to hold one at least. It had been terrifying to be given a little child to carry after the whole water ceremony. I'd never done so before that, to hold a tiny life in my arms. I could have just dropped her on her head, and this little tyke before me would have stopped existing then and there. But the child just smiled at me, babbling nonsensical words as children do, and clinging to me even as I tried to hand her off to Hannah. She had thought it hilarious and adorable. My suit had been a mess, and I was nearly an anxious wreck by the time I handed her back to her mother. Yet it was pleasant, too.
Of course I didn't, you little rugrat. I just had to take care of something before you arrived.
Really? Well, I guess that's fine. As long as he told me for work like last time.
Really? Now why don't we go back down and have breakfast in the parlor?
I already ate at home. Papa made one of his tortillas de patatas. He wouldn't let me leave until I finished every bite.
I think I want to hear that again.
I already ate at home. Papa made one of his tortillas de patatas. He wouldn't let me leave until I finished every bite.
Alright. The Suarez's infamous tortilla de patatas. Those things are a hazard. You can probably use one to bludgeon someone into submission with how huge they are. It's a miracle Kylie can still be so energetic. I had trouble staying awake the first time I had one. Speaking of staying awake,
Well, I need some coffee in me at the very least. But if you'd like, you can jump straight to dessert.
Yes, dessert please.
it's easy enough to manage Kylie with the promise of sweets, thankfully. The hard part is managing her before she gets the sweets, because I nearly have a heart attack when the kid races down the stairs. Just the thought of her slipping and breaking her neck is enough to make me rush down after her.
Slow down, the food isn't going anywhere.
The food is going somewhere. In my tummy.
Jesus fucking Christ. Children.
With a shake of my head, I usher Kylie towards the parlor and order a maid to bring food for us. Whatever breakfast there is along with a cup of coffee for me and an ice cream for Kylie. But I can't leave the kid alone for too long, unless I want her to turn to the other room into a slaughter ground. True to my expectations, I've only left Kylie alone for a few minutes, but she's already made herself comfortable. The stuff from her backpack has been left scattered across the room, from coloring books and crowns into toys. She's well equipped to amuse herself with no trouble, though I can certainly breathe a little easier if she won't bring her doll along every time she visits. Narcissa, or Sissa, is a creepy little bugger, I agree. It doesn't help when Kylie left her during what? Finding the thing at the bottom of the stairs, staring up at me at 3 o'clock in the fucking morning is a memory that won't be leaving me anytime soon. Even now, it stares at me from where it's seated. I'm wholly tempted to just throw the thing into the fireplace and banish it from whence it came. I can buy her a prettier doll, a better doll. I will break it, find a way to get rid of it, if it wasn't from Hannah, and if only Kylie wasn't so attached to it. Thing is some antique doll she found for the brat's 6th birthday. One of a kind. My darling Hana loves her so. And Kylie does try to be a good goddaughter, but she just can't keep her interest with the wife. Not something that Hannah does wrong on her part. She does try so very hard. It's just that she doesn't quite know how to really handle children. She'd never been around other children when she was young, surrounded by protective adults who catered to her every whim and worried for her safety every minute. When she isn't able to keep up with Kylie, her first instinct is to be strict. Pose rules on the child. Treat her as if she's made of spun glass, like every movement might break her. I, at least, have some idea from being around street kids. I know the games they've played and how they think. I know that scraps and skinned knees are all part of childhood. Even with how I grew up, I had time to be a child and not some sheltered heiress. With Kylie? As behaved as she can be, with her toys and her books and arts, she has to use up all her energy somehow. To run around the playground and make a mess in the mud, or to even just fake wrestle for a short while, let her be a child when she wants, I'll say. If it becomes too much, just bribe her with sweets or ship her back to her papa. Problem solved. Unfortunately, Hannah isn't quite up for those sort of things most of the time, thinking it'll spoil the child. Turns a whole playdate awkward, every time. Taking the last seat left, I pluck one of her coloring books from the table to see it filled with dinosaurs. Not exactly what I expect to see for a little girl, but it doesn't hurt anyone. She wants to play with dolls and cars, or dolls with their cars. What do I care? She once put dolls' tutus on model cars, even.
Oh, this is a new one. The last one you had was filled with horses, wasn't it?
Those were ponies, Tio. They're much cuter than horses. But we went to a dinosaur zoo, and it was awesome! Dinosaurs are my favorite.
I have no idea what that is, but it must be something. I'm only familiar with the T-Rex myself.
Yeah, they found, fossils of its claws. They're really long. They think the whole theory might be a bazillion meters tall, even bigger than a T-Rex. Cisa says it'll be big enough to eat all my classmates.
She only laughs as I scrunch up my nose and grimace.
Takako says you're making a really funny face.
Taka who?
Takako, a friend I made.
I have to stop and look around, expecting one of the help to be there. The child does have a way of befriending just about anyone, as long as she puts her mind to it. Yet the two of us are completely alone. Thankfully, she only finds my disturbed look as another funny, grown-up expression. That might be a lot more problematic than whether she plays with dolls or cars, though. Both the thoughts of Cisa giving Kylie ideas, and the one of the said ideas being a massacre by dinosaur. Something I probably need to bring up with her father, aside from work. But beyond murderous dinosaurs, creepy dolls, and imaginary friends, I find no trouble with Kylie. She's as energetic and precocious as any tyke her age can be. She's an angel if she can get comfy and settled in after getting her sweets. We tuck into our waffles as soon as the food is brought in. Our waffles because she wanted her own plate to go with the ice cream as soon as she saw mine. Fresh plate of berries is brought in as well, which goes really great with the rest of this feast, as Kylie puts it. And if I indulge in the sweetness, I have a cup of black coffee to pair it off with. With her bellies full, Kylie grows content with just scribbling on a scrap of paper and calmly chatting about her week. She talks of her older brother Rowan and their parents, how they plan to go to the Blocks Land in Berkshire for the winter holidays. What the fuck is that? Talks of Miss Pink, and I have to shift my legs to become comfortable once more, the memory of my initial meeting with her still fresh on my mind. The little bride is quick to defend her favorite academic as well. The woman has yet to offer a proper apology, and she wishes to give one on her behalf, all diplomatic-like I taught her. She talks of the sad man in the park and of our new friend who likes to play hide-and-seek when she's not sniffling in the loo. When finally, she finds nothing new to talk about, she goes back to her drawings. That'll change as soon as her stomach settles, of course, the calm before the storm. Because, behaved as she is right now, I can feel the curiosity just radiating off her. There's a restlessness buzzing under her skin, and a question on the tip of her tongue, as they often are with children her age. But for now, I can take this piece with no complaint for however long it stays. I have fun with the crowns as well, at the child's insistence, even if I can't really draw. With Kylie using the black crown, that leaves me with the blue one. I absent-mindedly start to draw a puppy to the best of my abilities. It's as I attempt to give the doodle dogs another eye that Kylie breaks her silence.
Tio? Where did Tia go? I saw them leave when I got here. Tia didn't look so good.
I've been expecting a lot of different questions. The kid always has a bunch of them ready for me, but I can only sigh when she posed this particular one.
She's just going to the doctor's for a checkup.
And as kids go, there are follow-up questions.
And you didn't go with her?
Well, you were going to be here, sweetie, so I had to stay behind.
So she's all alone? At the hospital?
Oh, no, of course not. Tia has Johans and her maid and a guard. She's got plenty of company.
Did they just cut and paste that Johans in there?
Oh, no, of course not. Tia has Johans and her maid and a guard. She's got plenty of company. Oh, no, of course not. Tia has Johans and her maid and a guard. She's got plenty of company.
We're really patching together to the end here.
Yeah, but you're not with her.
If I didn't know better, I'd say the kid is trying to make me feel guilty. I want to say the little tyke is evil for making me feel so.
But I understand. When I get sick, Papa and Mama have to leave me with their maids, too.
Oh, they don't take care of you?
That doesn't sound right. Even my mom took care of me when I was sick as a child.
Well, they're always busy with work.
Oh, I see. I guess that's no good.
That's your fault. I know she doesn't mean to accuse me of anything, but as her father's boss, maybe I do overwork Suarez a bit. There's a lot of responsibilities that only he is capable of carrying out. Delegation is a thing, sure, but when said responsibilities are legally questionable at best, putting others to the task isn't always an option. But
Maybe your papa is in need of some vacation time. He deserves it, doesn't he? He's a hard worker. I could arrange something for the holidays.
I could cut him some slack. Some of his assignments can wait. I can't do much for her mom. She isn't one of my employees, but this would have to suffice. It'll be worth it if it makes the little girl happy, because just like that, the somber look on her face turns into one of pure joy. It's like looking at a little sun, warm and bright. It's nice to do something kind every now and then.
Would you really, Tio?
Would you like that?
I'd like that very much, yeah! We can go to this museum! There's one with lots of cool trains and planes! I like trains! And there's the local Manor theme park! And a monkey forest! There's a kid adventure farm too, the wacky warehouse, and a play barn as well, and...
Alright.
Whoa, slow down there, Munchkin. I know you're excited, but I think you should let me schedule your dad's day off before you plan a whole year's worth of stuff.
There's an embarrassed giggle, but she does reel herself in, enough to calm down, which is a feat in and of itself. It's obvious how giddy she is. And if she wasn't looking forward to the holidays before, like any child should, she does now.
I think Tia would be really happy if you were with her. You could have told me you needed to go to the hospital with her, Tio. I won't be angry.
I'd love to be with her, but I wanted to spend time with you, Munchkin. And she told me to stay. Besides, I don't like hospitals. They always smell like alcohol. Not the good kind either.
I don't think anybody likes hospitals. They're scary. But you said Tia is brave and strong.
That she is.
A content silence comes over us as we go back to scribbling. Though I stop when I'm done with my blue dog, cringing at how awful it looks. Kylie reprimands me for that because I should be like her. Little Tyke goes through several sheets of paper, one drawing after another. Practicing, she says, because practice makes perfect. Not to mention there's a drawing contest coming up in class, and she just has to beat Tim from Class D, who says girls can't be superheroes. The clay gets a turn too, where we start sculpting food and pretending we're Michelin chefs. When we're too tired from tossing pizza and making cakes, there's no trouble in finding another activity more relaxing for the both of us. I find myself invested in reading The Picture of Dorian Gray once more. Often I lose myself in the pages of the book. However, it is rather difficult to do so when I'm also trying to keep an eye and ear out for Kylie. I've been reading the same paragraph over and over again. Inexplicably, I can feel my skin crawl when the girl sits with Narcissa by the parlor's fireplace, humming, singing. Though I ignore it long enough to hear only the tail end of the song. It was London Bridges, I'm sure.
Every up
Close
in
enough.
flames, up in flames, up in flames. Everything is up in flames, my fair lady.
I don't think I can spend any more time with Kylie, considering how high-strung I feel. So it is a good thing that Suarez came for her as soon as I've called. Though it is earlier than the agreed-upon time, he voices no complaint. The bastard even has a look on relief as soon as they left. Or at least I interpreted it as such from where I stood by one of the windows, not bothering to step out and greet the man. No doubt he still doesn't trust me around his spawn. Well, he has every right to be suspicious of me. I am a dangerous man, after all. But, to my chagrin, that leaves me with the rest of the day with nothing to do. Well, aside from picking up the mess Kylie left scattered about in the parlor. To my immense relief, she remembered to take her doll home with her this time. But the same cannot be said of the crowns and papers littered here and there. First things first. I snatch my own doodle off the table and rip it to shreds, leaving no hope that it will see the light of day. I wanted to see it. The rest of the drawings, all Kylie's, remain unharmed as I collect the lot. Though they have been stacked neatly on the table before, they must have been blown about when I saw Kylie off. And there are plenty of them. From cats and cakes to colorful rainbows and gardens, the child managed to make a lot during her morning here. There's one more that I have to fish out of the fireplace where it landed. Expecting to see another one of Kylie's masterpieces, I am instead greeted with something a bit more concerning. There's me, and there's Kylie. The two of us side by side and smiling as our stick figure selves stand in a nondescript field. That much I can ascertain without looking at the labels below the doodle's feet. But a third figure stands next to me in the drawing. A woman with her face hidden behind a curtain of black. Takako, the writing under her supplies.
Takako says you're making a really funny face.
Taka who?
Takako, a friend I made.
The hairs on the back of my neck stand on end, and I feel a chill go down my spine. A breath. That isn't mine. That has me turning around, expecting, hoping to see anyone. But nothing. And that's when I hear it. Laughter. Sweet and merry laughter ringing from the ballroom. Thinking about it has my cheeks burning and my blood running hot. It's as if I'm being mocked. As I stomp towards the door, I have to stop myself from shouting up a storm. I expect to see some of the help, dallying about, idle from their duties. Perhaps they thought they can slack off in their duties without the head butler around, with my preoccupation with Kylie. Well, they had another thing coming. But again, nothing. Nothing from what I can see with a cursory glance at the very least. I roam around looking for the near impossible hiding places, and still I am all alone. Yet I can still hear the laughter, that accursed laughter echoing about the room, in my head.
Who's there? Show yourselves and show some respect to the master of the house!
Cold uneasiness settles into my stomach when no one answers. I stumble on my own 2 feet, feeling a wave of nausea come from nowhere. I have to put a hand against the wall to stay upright when the world shifts and a pain explodes from behind my eyes. It takes every ounce of my self-control not to heave then and there. The only thing my pride allowed me to do is to close my eyes and attempt to alleviate some of the pain. Vague, unfamiliar images, dare I say memories not mine, flashed in my head, unbidden and unwelcome. Like a strong hammer strike to the head, threatening to crack my skull and split it in two. Whatever emotions they hold are muted. I'm nothing but a spectator. Still, its weight feels palpable. Though it doesn't take long for these sensations to get into my head, through my eyes and my ears, it creeps and buzzes into the spaces in between. It hurts. She doesn't want this.
You lacked care. You forget your place, and you've indulged yourself far too much in this fantasy of yours.
This is vile, like vomit and sludge brushing against my skin before it covers me until I'm weighed down. Disgusting. Wrong. Stop it.
You've overstepped your boundaries and livery.
Stop it. This is wrong. Please.
May I remind you that you are nothing but a servant, a slave, an unattractive, unchaste harlot who thinks too much of herself.
Please, no more. One after the other, they come at me, an unending flood that threatens to sweep me away from what feels like an eternity. Each one show both joy and suffering for those who have called this mansion their home. Each new scene is like a hammer to the head, threatening to crack my skull and split it in two. I can feel every little emotion in the blurry images that present itself in my head. I feel a part of these, like I've lived through them, though I know that is not possible. All their anger burns through me, that much is evident, but the pain more so. And above all of it are the whispers. The voices calling, luring, until one image emerges in vivid contrast with the others. When there's a shout of joy, my eyes snap open, looking for the culprit. That's when the whole room just changes. Everything is the same, yet everything isn't. There are people everywhere, laughing and dancing. I should be concerned about them, but my mind finds it easy to dismiss them as they fade in and out from nothingness. Instead, I find my concentration drawn to a man and a woman, though one can only call them a lord and a lady, going by their clothes. And oh, just see how happy the couple looks. Though the man's eyes are eerily blank, like he's not there at all. His face is familiar, though. In fact, they both are, but I can't quite place why. The two make for a pretty picture as they dance in the center of the ballroom. Even the Phantom's crowd's attention stays on them. Reminds me so much of Hannah and I during the early days of our marriage, the honeymoon years, they call it. We were happy then too, all smiles in her sunshine, even with the normal dreary weather. Younger, we had less to worry about, or at least thought that way. Wished we could go that way, even with all I did and had to do. But life has a way of catching up, there was work to be done. Although we had to stay the perfect loving couple in public, I could not afford to look so weak. To appear tied down to someone else, to those who knew who I really am, I had to harden my heart when I had business, but it hadn't always been so easy to just switch that part of me off and on. I should be concerned about their intrusion too. Ask what in the bloody hell they're doing in my house, throwing a party as if they own the place. Ask myself how the fuck I didn't notice what was going on before, when the parlor and the foyer are both only a few doors away. But I have the feeling that yelling and screaming at them won't do much of anything anyway. None of the others have given me notice. I realize this might not even be real. It dawns on me that these two are people from the paintings, the ones all over the mansion. Which makes sense. I don't think I'm imaginative enough to make all this up on my own. This must be a dream. Or a really horrible high. Just then, I could feel eyes on me as I contemplate the absurdity of the situation. Yet I find difficulty in trying to tear my eyes away from the two dancing. I manage, and I regret looking away. The woman from the balcony stands beside me. I can hear her rattling beneath a breath, menacing and chilling. Everything in me screams to run, but something pins me to the spot as she just looks at me, watching and waiting. The clamor of their voices fill the ballroom. Although they say such welcoming words, I do not feel comforted by the madness I'm experiencing. Their joyous voices turn sinister and foreboding to my ears. The chorus of people that shouldn't exist, threaten to overwhelm me, drown me even as I stand on dry land. The music still plays as the Phantom Quartet continues while I stand here, vulnerable and afraid, but the dance has already ended. And I'm afraid that I might be tonight's entertainment. Tension is all well and good until bullocks like this go down. These Phantom people watch me, thousands of eyes scrutinizing, though they cheer for my return, cajole me to dance and join the merriment. Cajole me to dance. Okay. There are eager hands all over, pulling me in every direction. They do not move me enough to remove me from the woman's gaze.
Listen. Can you not hear them as they welcome you home? Your kind, our kind. You're one of us, my love. We are bonded by the blood we share.
If I thought the voices were overwhelming before, it is nothing compared to how they are now. Their voices are loud, speaking in unison and echoing ever on in the spaces of my head. They welcome me back, as if I've always belonged, as if I was meant to be here in the first place. They call me all these titles and names that do not belong to me, and that man's face, the one with the empty eyes, flashes again before me. Once, fleetingly, like a new memory having burned itself in my mind. I have to struggle for air when I come back to myself after.
I'm not. This isn't.
The welcomes turn into screams at my protest, pained and desperate pleas for my help, telling me that it is my duty to stay, telling me that I belong among them, to them. Gentle touches turn near threatening, the warning scratches and the baring of teeth by predators before they truly maim someone. My mouth goes dry as I struggle to speak some sense into this hallucinatory madness, but I don't get the chance as they drown out my voice.
Our lord, my prince.
At her words, there is a compulsion to stay. Though my heart races in my chest, the fear I should be experiencing refuses to register in my head. Mind and body war with each other, nearly tearing me in two.
Oh, you finally returned to us.
The compulsion to walk into her arms is strong. Whispers in my head tell me to go to her. They say that she is safety. She is home and heart.
We have been waiting for so long.
But repulsed at these thoughts, I wrench away and turn with a small gasp. Without hesitation, I start to make a run for it, and nearly falter when an angry shriek pierces the air, inhumane and monstrous. I don't dare look back. I just run. I didn't care if this is a drug-induced hallucination or not. Just run! Out of the ballroom. And out of the parlor. It's only then that I bother to look back, hoping and praying to the god I scorned that it did not pursue me. Would have run all the way out of the mansion too, if only someone didn't get in my way. I collide with a body much larger than mine, and fall back to the ground, head spinning as I look up at the stained glass. Turning my head to the side replaces the colorful sight with a pair of shiny black shoes. Fatigue fills every inch of my being then, making me refuse to get up. Meanwhile, familiar head of ginger hair looks down at me in bemusement.
You really must look where you're going if you insist on running about. Do tell, where is the fire?
Oh, thank God you're here.
I do hope you don't have a concussion. Can you count backwards from 15 to 1 for me?
Oh, fuck off, you wanker. Just help me up.
I do not think insulting me if you do have a concussion is a smart decision. But no, really. 15 to 1.
That woman, she was here. I told you to keep an eye out for her.
The other man offers an arm and pulls me up to my feet then. But before I can storm off and pull him into the ballroom, he anchors me down with one hand on my shoulder and the other touching the back of my head.
No bruising or bump. That still does not mean that you don't have a concussion. If you are too lazy to count backwards, can you tell me your full name? Where are you currently?
We don't have Lucille Mitchell Wright, and this is the Ermengarde bloody fucking foyer. But we don't have time for this.
You must make and have the time to make sure you are not broken in the head. I have already sent security to scour the whole house when I saw you running out of the parlor, Dummkopf. If the woman is here, they will have her. You will only be slowing them down if you plan to interfere.
When he points that out, I realize that there are guards starting to filter into the house as we speak, with some already searching the nearby rooms. Armed and uniformed men go about in pairs, making it so the house is in a flurry of activity. Let's go me then, with the knowledge that I'm not going to keel over anytime soon.
I was hoping that you would be tired from dealing with the young miss on my return. Instead, you come running and hit your head. Such a troublesome boy. Shall I be carrying you to bed, too?
I can manage just fine on my own. Though I don't see how I can sleep until that woman is caught.
It'll be easier to keep you safe in your quarters. This is twice we've known the woman to break in. I think we can safely presume that you hold her interest.
He says it as a matter of fact, in a tone that brooks no argument. Not like I'll argue if it means I'm kept safe. Two of us hurry upstairs, though we remain watchful and wary of any potential threats to my person. I make it to the master bedroom without any trouble, though, and two of the security are left outside the door. No problems at all. Not until we get inside. Johann's eyes scan the room wildly, a look of dread on his usually stoic face. And I don't understand for a moment. Looking around the bedroom, it's empty. But then I realize...
Where's Hannah? She came home with you from the hospital, didn't she?
She's supposed to be here. I sent one of the maids to accompany her here, to let her rest.
I feel the color drain from my face when he raises a hand to stop me from charging out there.
Stay.
I'm not staying in here while Hannah stays out there.
One of the guards will find her and bring her here.
And what if they don't? What if that woman gets to her first? What if she already has her?
That's not possible.
You can't promise that.
There's no second thought as I reach under my side of the bed and pull out one of my knives. I have no doubt that the other man could take me on if we are both unarmed. But with this, I can even the field, or at least deter him from escalating the situation and risking hurting either of us.
I'm going out there to look for Hana. And you're either with me or you aren't. I'm not risking Hana, and I'm not leaving her alone.
Still, like a stubborn mule, he refuses to budge from the door. There's a withering look on him as I try to match. One that somehow I am losing fast to, even with him saying not saying a word yet.
Can you see yourself in the mirror right now? You are in no proper state to go looking for anyone. If it will make you happy, I will do the looking. But please, and don't make me repeat this, stay where it's safe, where security can find you. We already have one person to be worried about. Please don't add another one to it.
Perhaps it is his tone. In spite of his general disdain for virtually everything that has to do with me, I like to think that over the years he has grown to care for Hana, at least. Much as I loathe to admit this, I trust him with her safety over any servant in this house. So, an acquiesce.
You have 2 hours, Shirokin. I don't think it'll take that long to find one missing woman in this house. 2 hours. Any more than that, and I'm going out there.
Of course.
Despite his words, he lingers. If I didn't know any better, I'd say he wants to make sure I get in that damn bed and sleep before he turns away from me. What am I, a child? Watching me and treating me like one. There's the reason why we'll never get along.
Well, what are you waiting for?
And the knife?
The knife stays.
Very well.
Only then does he seem to get the hint. With a nod, he leaves, locks the door, and closes it behind him. Not in that order. For a moment, I still hear his voice when he gives the guard outside firm instructions, then a hush as soon as he departs and his footsteps fade away. One that doesn't quite last. As quickly as the silence settles, lightning flashes across the sky, followed immediately by the loud boom of thunder. And that wanker strikes so dangerously close that I can feel the electricity in the air. The power goes out not a second later, and I feel as if I'm being mocked by whatever greater power there is. All is deathly still for a moment, but soon the rain starts once again. Far heavier than the light drizzle from this morning, its pitter-patter hitting hard against the place's roof. Despite the noise, I find myself drawn to my bed, exhausted, hoping for a little nap. I'm safe here. Hana will be safe too. Shrukin will find her, and when I wake up, she'll be here. It does not take long. Once my head hits the pillow, in a matter of minutes, darkness claims me, bringing with it laughters and whispers of a twisted love from a long time ago.
Who are you? Stay away!
Okay.
Sweet dreams, my love. It'll be over soon.
Yet, in spite of the unfamiliar voices and unwanted touches from the shadows lurking in the dark, rousing is a slow, arduous process. Difficult, every limb heavy with lead. No matter my aversion for the words they murmur in my ears or the sight of her horrid smile from afar, my body refuses to yield. I am at their mercy. Beyond fathomable reason, my consciousness refuses the pull of the waking world, choosing to linger in the pits of a dream, gradually drawing me deeper into unknown depths. Somehow, even if it might mean I may never open my eyes, I allow them.
You do not belong there, my prince.
Not that I mind getting a few extra hours, of course. The bed's more than comfortable as it is, after an exhausting day yesterday. Babysitting Kylie, the stress of finding an intruder in my own home, not to mention those bloody eyeballs they left. I think I deserve a little break every once in a while, especially after going through all that in a single day. I can only be on the receiving end of so many unacceptable things within the span of a few hours, you know? As gracious a host and person I am, my patience has its limits, too. Although there's still the problem with Hana, I haven't forgotten that, of course. That's why I hired Shrokin. He's competent enough, He won't even last a day in my service if he's any lesser than those halfwits who think they can deceive me with sweet words. He's more than capable of working on his own without guidance. Let the butler take care of that little problem with Hannah while I... Hannah.
You do not need her. I am here. We are here. This is where your home is. Where you belong. For the blood we share. Come back to us.
How long has it been since? Johans has never taken this long before.
Surely there should have been an update by now, right?
So why isn't there?
Please don't go.
Bloody hell, the cretins I've surrounded myself with.
And isn't that enough to force myself out of bed? As it has always been the case? My eyes fly open, expecting the warm rays of sunshine filtering through the curtains, only to be greeted by a blinding flash of light and a loud boom of thunder that sounded nearly too close to my ears. Strong gusts of wind will occasionally burst in from the open balcony door, bringing in drizzles of cold rain into the room. I must have left it open earlier before dozing off. The carpet and the floor closest to it is already drenched. Hannah's going to be so cross once she sees this. Not that it's an immediate problem. If anything, it's this power outage we should be minding first. With the intruder still at large, steering through this darkness might be far more fatal than a multiple stab wounds or a gunshot to the chest. Okay.
Oh, great. The power's still out. That is exactly what I need right now. Yes.
It's the storm, of course. I should have moved back to the penthouse to weather in a much more comfortable setting. Already I can hear the creak and groans of this old place as rain beats against the windows.
Johans, has someone been sent to check the circuit breaker yet?
No answer.
Johans?
Silence.
Shroken! Someone! Anyone?
Still nothing, and my cordial mood is quickly dissipating.
Where are those idiots when you need them?
It's really a wonder why he hasn't fixed this yet. Was I really out that long? Can't be. It's only been a few hours after midnight, if the time on wristwatch is anything to go by. Must have forgotten to change it again after that last overseas trip a month ago. Though the delay is understandable if he went looking for Hannah as he promised. But bloody hell, my safety is also at stake here. Cursing, I stay still, letting my eyes try to adjust to the darkness while my hands fumble for my slippers. If that butler isn't going to fix this, I may as well order the security posted outside to do it. It's probably just a blown fuse. Anyone with a brain can repair one. Grabbing my jacket and with my footwear finally on, I make for the door. Although in haste, I pause briefly when a gleam catches my eye. On one of my drawers, underneath the clutter of yet to organize, the muzzle of a gun peeks out. Hannah has never openly commented on my possession of it, but I know she does not approve of it, knowing the bloody firearms policy in this nation. Of course, I've not found much use for it in the 7 years we've been together, otherwise she would have already thrown it out years ago. Doesn't mean it won't be useful right now. Without second thought, I seize it, sending the stuff piled above it onto the floor. Whatever. I'll get to it later. This blackout problem should be resolved first. Right next to my missing security detail, as it turns out.
Where the fuck did everyone go?
There were two, weren't there? Shroken had 2 blokes posted to stand guard for the night. I might be panicking for a bit earlier, but I'm quite sure I haven't got delusional yet. What, did both of them decide to take a break because they think the master's already sound asleep and won't be looking for them?
Damn nitwits.
I know assassinations happen very rarely these days, even less in a peaceful city like Luxborn, but bollocks! There's been a woman going in and out of this place uninvited, who may or may not want to put a knife in my back. And another peasant managed to break into this house just the other day. Isn't that enough reason to stay on alert? Fairly certain Shroken won't just enlist their help for the power outage, only to leave me unprotected. We have a difficult friendship, so to speak, but I doubt the man is an opportunist. I'm holding the lives of his family in my hands, after all. He knows what I am capable of doing. He's not stupid enough to do anything that'll endanger them and save only himself. So where then? Only my footsteps echo along the dark passage. I am left gripping the handle of my pistol for some sort of comfort. Without proper lighting, with the storm still raging outside, the stories I've heard about this place seem to have some truth to it. Some. If I'm reaching and wish to entertain myself for a bit, I'll say there might also be ghosts whispering in my ears, calling. Of course, it's just the wind and the trees rustling outside. Nothing good will come of allowing these thoughts to linger when problems are piling up in front of me one after another. Especially with what greets me once I get to the foyer. Though it's dark, the large windows illuminate the area much more easily than the other rooms. And from where I stand at the top of the stairs, I can easily make out their forms, recognize them even. It's all gone crazy when these intruders come into my house. I'm no stranger to a cop playing dirty. The smart ones knew that neither life nor criminals are going to play fair. But Lily, the estate agent? She doesn't seem the sort. And Daisy, too? What will Kylie think of Miss Pink if the poor tyke finds out about this? Not to mention Mint. Hannah trusted her. I trusted her to be a professional at the very least, for fuck's sake.
Well, well, what have we here? If I were any less sober, I'd say this is the beginning of a joke.
Bloody trespassers. What is wrong with these people? Did they really think I'll be fine with them walking into my home like this? What are they even doing in here? If I didn't know any better, they might also be behind Hannah's disappearance.
That's right, my love.
They must have a motive.
Make them pay.
And it better be a good one.
For all the wrong they've done to us.
Or a bullet to the head is the least all of them will deserve. I don't make a habit of harming women, of course, but this is just crossing the line.
Let's see. A high school teacher, a real estate agent, and an interior designer walk into a mansion.
Thunder crackles once again, cutting me off. This time, it sounds close enough that it nearly feels as if the windows and the ground itself are rumbling. All is deathly still for a moment. I don't let it stop me, however, as I slowly make my way towards them, taking one careful step at a time, relishing the expression of fear in their eyes. I suppose there's something ominous in this setting. The heavy rain outside and the lack of light here. I kinda like it too, to be honest. Add something to the atmosphere, I suppose. I must look like the villain now. But short of me getting close to them, a noise to my left distracts me, briefly halting my movements while curiosity takes over my every murmur in my head. And it's a good thing, perhaps, that I did, because as soon as I look up, I see him. The detective from a few days ago, the one Lee mentioned. Just as he's about to jump down from the furniture that has somehow ended up piled and blocking the door to the parlor. What happened there? Did he really think it's alright to do that in other people's house? Lout.
Teach him, my lord. Put him in his place.
My hand's already moving before any rationale can stop me, fingers firm at my gun when I finally release the safety from it and take aim. Not at him, but at his friends. They are his, aren't they? Why else would they be here together? Doesn't matter. I know his kind follows some sort of moral standard. He won't let an innocent be harmed, especially people he cares about. My finger on the trigger is more than itching to shoot, but I hold back. Sure, I could have simply taken aim at him, but more than seeing him bleed, I want to see the expression on his face once he realizes everything he's doing is futile. He's trapped. Lives are in my hand. His life's in my hand.
Had I known there would be a party in my own home tonight, I would have opened a bloody bottle or two. People these days, in my own home, can you believe it? I feel so left out.
I can tell the exact moment the realization dawns on him. A short second of his body freezing and blood draining from his face as soon as his feet hits the floor and he looks up. He's already a prey trapped by his own recklessness.
How pathetic.
And really, Daisy, even you, what would Kylie say?
Luke, this isn't what you're thinking. You have to listen to us. There's something going on here.
Well, obviously, why else would people be trespassing in my home? What about little Lily over there, then? What's your excuse? Checking back if your clients are doing okay? Is that it? Is this what this is? Oh, we're doing good, by the way.
Sir, please.
Oh, please what?
We need to get out of this place. You need to leave.
Tut, not a good enough excuse, darling.
You people are the ones who need to get out of my sight.
Don't worry, I might consider pressing lighter charges for the woman. Can't say the same for Feathers here, though.
But really now, I swear, people need to stop breaking into my house! This is how you want to start the week. Why don't we just go with a bloody massacre if we want to surprise people in their homes, huh?
Just a passing remark, of course. I'm not stupid enough to do something that'll bring negative attention to myself. Reputation and all that. I can't just risk it. The thought of having dead bodies here, ones that I'm not even responsible for, they're the ones who trespassed. It's already quite too much. It'll literally be overkill, especially for someone like me. Nevertheless, joke or not, Feathers wastes no time drawing his own gun at the slight wave of my joke, even if he knows it's already too late. Still, he glares at me. Still, he fights back.
Now, Feathers. Manners. You're in no position to be pointing that gun at people.
There's no desperation in him like I'm hoping, just an annoyance flickering shortly before being unhidden underneath the challenge. The likes of him are the kind of people I hate the most. Even with their failures already glaring down at them, mocking every worthless move they make, they have the impudence to stare at people in the eye.
Why don't you put yours down first, and then we'll talk about manners.
Oh, he talks back. The gall! You know, your kind pisses me off so much.
Annoying most of the time, like a damn pest he can't be rid of. But to some degree, it's commendable. I'll give him that. After all, we're almost the same in that regard. Almost. I'm still the better person, of course. He tells me to put the gun down, but I see no reason why I should. I'm a homeowner, in defense of my own home. I have the right to, I'd like to think. Questionable permit of firearms aside. It's not like I wanted this. But I'm already high-strung, and their presence does not help. Bloody peasants. I can never seem to figure out how their minds fully work. Take this one for example, here we go. Despite the pride brimming in him, how he matches my glare with one of his own, he simply lowers his pistol after a long second, not in surrender. The tense set in his shoulders tells me as much, but the closest he can get to lowering his own ego, in favor of something I can't quite place. Interesting. Gotta admit, I'm almost disappointed.
As you should be, my lord.
I've expected him to hold until one of us shoots the other. Can't say it'll be more exciting that way. Bullet inside any part of my body isn't something I'd like to have on a bad day like today, or any day for that matter. But it'll surely be predictable of him. And I like predictable. They're the kinds of people who are the easiest to deal with, no matter the situation. With them, there's no second guessing what they'll do. He shoots, I shoot. One of us dies, the other walks away. Nothing complicated. Nothing, you would both die. Did you ever try that option? Nothing requiring much brain power, just muscle memory and who's the better shooter. End of story. Yeah, here he is, dragging a deep breath in and setting aside the only thing protecting him. I can easily shoot him this way, and be done with this whole farce of a conversation. Instead, I find myself listening. A concession for a person who, in another life, would have also become the person I am today, had his circumstances allowed it. Damn shame. We might have gotten along.
Listen, Wright, I need you to...
But alas.
You broke into my house, and somehow, you expect me to listen like a good little boy. Are you a bit touched in the head, Feathers? I'm not the one breaking laws here.
Look here, fucker. If I wanted you dead, I could have done it so many times already. In fact, I can easily shoot you down right here, right now. And you won't be able to do a damn thing, even with that gun.
A meeting of two prideful blokes will never go well, whichever lifetime it is. And I can only laugh at his audacity, his lack of shame and fear even facing the business end of my pistol.
You know what I'm thinking right now? In another lifetime, we would have probably gotten along well.
The best truth I can offer him. Not many people, those who have slighted me in particular, live this long to see it.
And he should be grateful. You're already gracious enough, allowing him to stand in your presence like this.
Yes, especially when he has a lot to answer. Preferably right now, because as generous as I have been so far, My patience has its limits. My amusement can only last for so long. In 2 steps, I'm standing in front of him, grabbing him by the collar and resting the cold muzzle of the eagle against his temple.
Ashton! Luke, no!
He'll end up a pretty smear on the wall this close.
Teach this loud a lesson.
What is it that you people really want with me? This is the 3rd time this week, and I'm really getting weary of this little game. Did the NCA send you to apprehend me? Or has somebody paid you off to kill me? Which one is it, Feathers? Mind you, my arm's getting tired. Better answer quick if you don't want to meet the business end of this gun.
And he knows it. Of course he does. He's a trained officer, isn't he? But not many bother to be as cautious as him. One glimpse at my handgun safety earlier is all it took for him to see I mean business. Similar. Too similar. We're too alike in so many little ways it's funny. Down to the fact he doesn't even flinch, no matter how heavy the threats in my words are. Even knowing how one flick of my finger on the trigger will be enough to end his sorry life. He should have caved in by now, started begging like so many others before him. Instead, he throws more vitriol, adds more kindling to a fire already burning.
I'm not with NCA. I'm just here to help. There's something else in this house, and we're all in danger. You have to believe me, right? You need to let us go. You need to get out of here before it's too late. If you want to keep your sorry ass alive, you'll listen to people with more brain cells than you.
Igniting it further like that, I can't help but return it to him with equal fervor. We don't need him. We don't need him, my love.
Why, you insolent!
We both decide to move in that moment, both our bodies tensing, each of us racing to get ahead of the other. However, before we can even get a head start, a voice unexpectedly rings above the chaos about to ensue.
Hannah?
Oh, Luke, darling, my love. What do you think you're doing out here this late?
The woman that stands there is the one that I married, the love of my life. So why is it that the look she gives me now makes me feel so revolted? It makes it so that there's just a general sense of wrongness in the way she smiles at me.
Hannah! Oh, thank goodness, it's just you. Oh, you gave me quite the fright. We've been looking all over for you.
Saying this makes my tongue feel heavy. I'm so used to lying, to putting on a face, but this just feels so wrong. Such a small lie, yet a big one at that. To be afraid at the sight of my own wife for no apparent reason is illogical, yet her mere presence has been disturbing. From her suddenly devoted and near dependent nature, her obsession and possessiveness to her strange way of speaking, something has been wrong with Hannah as of late. I didn't want to admit it, but it was almost as if she'd turned into another person overnight. And looking up at her now only seems to solidify this. It's almost as if I can't recognize my own wife.
Fetch me. Whatever for, my prince.
Look, that doesn't matter right now. You need to get out of this house right now, alright? Stay in the penthouse for a while.
Leave our home? What if I wish to stay?
It's not safe here, darling. Now is not the time to explain. Just listen to me. Okay, Buttercup?
I hold out my hand to her, in the hopes that she won't ask any more questions. I shove away the ill thoughts I have about her, about how this is not the wife I've married. People change, and now is not the time to have some sort of existential crisis about this. Our safety is priority right now, and I'll feel better about this as long as I can have her by my side. But she barely budges from her place atop the stairs, let alone takes my hand. The way she looks at me just sends chills down my spine.
Why should I? Is something the matter? What about you? Are you not coming with?
What was I supposed to say? Where to even start? Maybe just confess that there's some crazy lady roaming around, and I'd really like it if we just stayed safe?
You just need to leave for a while so I can let security sweep the place. And someone has to be there, yes? To supervise and all. That'll be my job, Buttercup.
Still, nothing. She doesn't move from where she stands, still with that amused grin on her face, as if this is all some funny joke, and she's the only one who can see the punchline.
But I do not wish to leave. And you should not either.
You've just arrived, my prince. This is your home. Our home. Would you really allow others to drive us away from it?
Be that as it may, it is dangerous here right now, and I'd rather have you safe than, I don't know, comfortable or whatever argument you wish to bring up. This is ridiculous, Hana. We shouldn't be discussing this. You need to leave now. Let me handle things here, Buttercup.
It is then that her expression turns absolutely horrific, and everything turns into complete and utter shite. Anna's body shudders and shakes, as if she's about to have a seizure, until her visage ripples and changes. Golden yellow hair is slowly stained with inky black, and her face melts into that of the woman, the maid from before, with a menacing expression on her face. Along with it is the shifting of the very ground we stand on. It is a slow thing, a whisper more than a bang, as the darkness creeps into every corner of the room. The walls shudder and groan. Blood runs from the ceiling, crawls down the walls, and stains the floor. It feels as if life itself is being sucked from the house, slowly but surely. The beauty of the place is gone, with only the dead, decaying remains of the mansion left in its wake. I don't have to wonder if it was just the foyer that's become this nightmarish place. I can already hear it. Gone are the growling of thunder and the lashing of rain and wind against the foyer's high windows. All of it has been replaced by a more grating sound. Cacophony of voices from nowhere and everywhere echoing throughout the now horrid walls. Voices that neither belong to us nor the people who live here.
What's going on?
All throughout the house, shouts of alarm and surprise ring out, a mirror to the horror creeping up in each of us. Who wouldn't be shocked? This is insane. Even Daisy, feisty woman that she is, trembles at the sight of it, clinging desperately to Lily, while Feathers stands protectively in front of the two. Brave of him, I have to admit, to put himself in the front line like that, though it doesn't necessarily mean he doesn't feel the same fear as the rest of us. Something I don't blame him for. Seems to be no end in sight to this insanity. If anything, this only feels like it's the beginning of the end.
Help me! Oh my god! Please, somebody! Anybody! Who are you? Stay away!
No. Stay away. Stay away.
No! She's here! You've gotta let me out! She's gonna kill me!
It sounds like, hey, that is that guy. Zach, that's his name.
Someone! She's...
Their screams fill the mansion. She laughs all the while, a harsh, agonizing sound that goes on for what feels like forever. Till there's nothing but silence, her horrid smile, and Pale's hands reaching out to me. Calling. Beckoning. Pleading. I'm terrified, I really am, like I should be, but I have never been one to truly stay afraid. I've long learned that fear will not get me anywhere. Cowering in a corner doesn't keep me safe, and it will not keep me alive, not like rage does. I've learned to use this burning hate inside me to survive. There is no difference now.
Stay away from me!
Why do you wish to leave? This is where you belong, my lord. Remember the blood we share? This is your home. Don't you remember? You promised to return, to stay. Together with me, with us. With people no different from you.
Don't listen to her, she lies. I promised no such thing to anyone. We bought this house weeks ago. How should I know what she's babbling about? I never even wanted to be here in the first place.
A terrible case of mistaken identity. That must be it. I'm quite sure of it. I don't know this woman, this monster. Why would I say that to someone like her? In my entire lifetime, I've only met and kept sincere promises to a mere two people, Hana Evans and Eleanor Chandler. No one else. The rest of those who've claimed I promised anything to them can go fuck themselves. Bloody hell, I may enjoy the company of women, but I am not an idiot to start spouting such nonsense to anyone. A line must be drawn, especially if I am to keep myself alive. Yet, she still goes on, insists, makes me appear a liar in front of these people.
Of course you still deny it. Have you truly forgotten? You haven't changed, I see. Still a deceiver.
She's lying!
You see, my love, nothing has changed. Still no difference, you and I. Just like the rest of us. Just like every single soul in this putrid wreck. We've waited for so long. You can hear them, yes. Their pleas, their calls, their invitation. Come, my lord. The house seeks its master.
She, the monster, reaches out again, her hand a gory, abhorrent sight, along with that smile spread across her face. My body's already moving on instinct. Stumbling back, one step at a time, in a desperate bid to be away from her, anything to put distance between me and this vile creature. No matter what she says, I am nothing like her. I need to get out of this house. Out of this country, preferably. There's nothing for me here. Not anymore. Nothing to keep me tied to this place. With Hannah beyond saving, no longer the same woman I knew, and Shrokin likely taken by this woman, nothing left to bind me to this wretched city. I can leave. I can... My foot steps on something, sending me sliding on my back and flat on the floor. Beside me, a paper, a familiar one, flutters down. It's this thing again, from the open house, though it feels less like a gimmick and more like a threat, what with recent events. It must have fallen from one of these peasants in the commotion earlier. For a moment, they appear conflicted to see it in my hand, but wisely keep their opinions to themselves, leaving the damn thing to simply bear its grisly message for everyone in the room to see. Help me. Help me. Help me. Is this it? What they've been telling us? Why everything in my life has gone to shite? Because of some stupid old letter? An invitation, indeed. One I am not willing to accept. Not any time. From the top of the stairs, the creature moves again, drawing my attention back to her. Her gait remains slow and awkward as she walks forward, that smile never leaving her. But I don't. I won't give her the chance. I am not dying here. I certainly am not giving myself to a hideous creature like her either. Adrenaline kicks in, and despite panicked gasps and worried glances from Daisy's friends, I pay them no mind as I reach for the main door and... Without warning, it slams open, revealing not the mansion grounds like I am expecting. Before my mind can even comprehend what's happening, black tendrils have already coiled tightly around my limbs, dragging every person in the foyer into the room. None of us even get to scream, when darkness completely envelops us upon the doors closing.
Understand where your place is now, my love. You belong here. Is it so difficult to grasp? We've been waiting.
There's a moment of panic when the feeling of the tendrils around my limbs finally dissipates. As soon as my eyes adjust to the darkness of the room and I'm on my feet, I'm reaching for my knife and holding it out, watching, waiting for every movement, using it as a way to put distance between me and these peasants. Who knows what they'll do now? We're all desperate to get out of this house. There's only 5 of us in this room, 3 of them, friends at that. Though Minta's already gone loon, crouched in the corner and muttering to herself, can't really say anyone's safe from her. If anything, she's the one I should watch out for. I cannot trust these people not to turn on me. I cannot trust anyone. Not anymore. Not after this. Despite the pleading look Lily shoots my way while they all huddle in the corner beside Feathers. But I have to remind myself that even people like her are capable of doing the unpleasant. She's only human after all. It's never an excuse. Why Hannah even has her cunning, manipulative moments, though she does it much subtler than I. Why else would Lily show this letter to us that day if not to save herself? I guess that backfired on her now that she and her friends are also stuck here. Still, I have every right to be livid. Everything that I've built has fallen apart. All because these people came into our lives.
You! All of you! This is all your fault! If I've died to this bloody case, I'm taking you all down with me!
Calm down, Wright. The situation's already bad. You're just making it worse.
You shut your mouth! If it weren't for you, or this letter, for all of you, none of this would have happened! Anna would still be!
Suddenly, Daisy steps up and slaps the knife away from my hand.
Don't you dare, Luke! Don't you dare put that blame on us!
Without batting an eye, glaring at me as she must just might rip my head off in this instant, said knife slides uselessly under the table, out of my reach. I should have expected she's not the kind to submit, even under threat. Right now, all of us appear smaller, facing her anger.
Last I checked, we're the ones trying to do the saving here.
You're in a cereal box, you can't save anybody.
And what about your friend over there? Are you saying she is responsible for this mess? For the lives this sorting letter took? Dragging other people into her own problems just so she could save her little sorry self? You think I haven't seen that before? Getting real tired of your double standards, Daisy!
You know this curse is an entirely different issue, Luke. Because, knowing you, I don't doubt that even without that blasted letter, you would have eventually...
Rebecca, stop! All of you, stop this!
To hear Lily speak out, can't say I'm not surprised. She has always given me the impression of someone so meek from the moment I've met her, either from her inexperience or her station in life. She's never struck me as someone fitting to be a real estate agent. Until now. That's what you need to do. You need to be pissed off to be a real estate agent. Quietly, she puts herself between me and Daisy, cutting whatever scathing words we've yet to hurl at each other. The way she glares at me, it reminds me a little in the way my own mum would look at me. Particularly when I've done something wrong. It's not a stare she's unused to showing. She has done this before, probably to a younger sibling. Huh. If she only sees us now as a pair of squabbling kids and not two mature adults, well, that's only to be expected. No doubt that's how she sees us. For a long moment, there's only silence in the room. Feathers, for all his guts, doesn't even dare break it, merely watching us. Where did all his bravado go now, huh? Not that it matters when Lily starts speaking again, after some of the anger and tension is lifted from the room.
Stop this, please! With or without that damn piece of paper,
A deep breath. An exhale. And then she closes her eyes, a crease forming between her eyebrows while she grips her hand tightly in front of her.
we still would have ended up in this mess.
The atmosphere that descends into the room right after that, admission is anything but pleasant. Can I call it that? An admission? It seems like it from the way her eyes nervously flick between her friends and I. She appears to know more than she lets on. Now she makes herself smaller after dropping that bomb on us doesn't sit quite well with me. Impatience is something I don't have the luxury of having right now and bestowing upon other people. What else does this girl know? What else is she not telling us? Because from the look of this, even her friend has no idea what she's talking about. Unwilling to wait, I grab her arm before she retreats without explanation, waving the letter still in my hand in front of her.
Ow! Sir, you're hurting me!
Hey, hands off her, right?
Fuck off, Feathers. I have questions for your friend, and she better have the answers.
Luke, will you stop taking it out on every single person?
Your friend is hiding something, Daisy.
She struggles for a moment, but my hold eventually forces her to look up at me. Fear and uncertainty spreads across her features, especially when her eyes land on the damn paper. As much as I want to be considerate right now, I want answers.
What do you mean, Lily?
I'm not sure about it.
Don't give me that, you know something!
Ow! Please, sir! I know the paper's useless, okay?
At the mention of the letter, all of a sudden Mint stands. I've almost forgotten she's here. Her ramblings have faded away in the shouting. That warning, she snatches the paper out of my hand. It's a miracle it didn't rip right there and then, but the way she glares at it, I think she may want to do exactly that.
We should have gotten rid of this thing! We should have burned it at the first opportunity we got!
No! Even if we rip it to shreds, it won't do anything! I think...
You don't know what I've seen, Santos. There were children! Victims! All because they had no idea what this thing will do to them! Oh God, those poor souls! They were screaming and begging before she...
Then what about those people they mentioned in the news lately? All those who died? My coworkers? The open house clients? None of them had seen it, even Rose. And yet they're all dead. I should know. That letter has been with me since I picked it up. And I swear I didn't make copies of this thing. Even if I wanted to save myself, I wouldn't do that to my friends. Or anyone.
Is that what the trip to BRC was for?
Yes, I'm sorry. I couldn't tell you guys until I was certain. None of you believed me the first time. I had to find proof.
And yet we're all here! Are you taking me for a fool, Lily?
I have to go with whiskey on this. Who knows how many has already seen this before you found it? This cursed thing has to go!
We would have ended up here either way. Maybe? I really don't know. Sir, please. All I know is that paper isn't the reason why all of this is happening. There's something else. Maybe it's this place that's the problem. Maybe it's this we should be getting rid of.
What? You mean, like, burn this place down?
I still think we should get rid of this letter before we start thinking of destroying a place with some historical value!
What? No? We are not burning a multi-million-pound mansion, you peasants! I just spent a fortune on this! Bloody fucking hell! Not only do I have trespassers on my property, but they're also arsonists!
How dare they suggest something like that? Bloody peasants. My head's already aching just listening to them. To think this is all the solution they can come up with. I should have just stabbed all of them and made a run for it. It doesn't help with each second we spend talking here, the crazier this whole place gets. Voices have become louder and somehow sounding more vicious. If the things in this room start floating, mark my words, I will fucking flip out. They may not be thinking of it right now, but eventually they'll turn on me. Such is the nature of humans. I better find a way out of this place as soon as possible, if I want to stay alive. Fuck, I still have so much to do. None of our choices seem sound, but who knows? We don't understand a shite about this place. Might as well try everything, yeah? Whatever works. If I also have to be the one to make that bloody decision, so be it. Less room for errors, with the only sane one doing the thinking. On the off chance I'm wrong, well, they suggested it. I decide to... I don't think burning the letter is going to do anything. I'm going to regret this. I will. But with these cries growing louder, this has become the easiest decision I have ever made. I'm getting tired of hearing her sobbing, really. It's just irritating. Isn't she getting tired of it? Besides, someone has to act fast. Think fast. What else is the root cause of our problems but this place where the letter was found? No need to make things more complicated. It started here, why won't it end here? If what Lily has said is true, then there needs to be... that's all the more reason to destroy it. Put an end to this madness before someone thinks of putting this blasted place up on the market. When I get out of this place, I swear I'm suing a bunch of people. Run that estate company to the ground if need be. We spent millions, damn it. Millions! With a sigh, and perhaps a heavy heart, I open one of the drawers in my study table, taking a bottle of liquor out for myself, then passing it on to every occupant in the room. They accept it, but not without a look of protest or a confused glance my way. It does shut them all up, so maybe I've done something good. Even more when I pop the cork off the bottle and pour its contents on the floor.
Well, what are you simpletons waiting for?
I want to find a way out of the place first. We waste no time dousing the whole room, the smell of alcohol filling the air. If I didn't know any better, I'd say they're more eager to set this whole place on fire. And the blaze catches easily in the room when I set it alight, using the blasted paper as kindling. The whole place drenched with wine and all manner of things alcoholic I've been hiding from Hannah. A small fire soon turns into an inferno. In a matter of seconds, we're out the door. Doesn't exactly lead where I'm hoping it will. Although, ending up in the kitchen does give us more reason to play like a bunch of pyromaniacs. Fishing the liquor stocks up from the cupboards, we also do the same thing we've done to the study. Door after door, in every room we pass. Pouring bottle after bottle of expensive aged liquor and setting everything on fire, only leaving once the blaze has started in earnest. When we run out of liquor, we simply drop the bottle and take off one of the many books I've stashed. What? Take off from one of the many nooks I've stashed one. Okay. And there's no lack of it in here. The hard stuff, the shorts, the watered down kind. Gifts from distant relatives, friends, so-called friends, you name it. I made sure there's only one within reach.
How many of these things do you keep in this house?
I always have a few bottles in the bedroom, the parlor and the dining room.
You have problems, man.
Well, isn't this the time to discuss them?
Hannah had called me out on this numerous times before, telling me the same thing. I always told her she doesn't know the half of it, before completely dismissing her concerns. Worrywart, that woman. Turns out, it'll be useful now. Not to drown out my sorrows, but for this, wonder of wonders, though I suppose I can now say has also saved my life. But there's no time for some introspection now, because with each room we pass and burn, the place also becomes easier to navigate. As if it's slowly righting itself, returning to what it's supposed to be. Soon we finally find ourselves standing before the main door. The strong odor of burning wood, cloth, and varnish alike wafts from under the doors of the rooms we previously torched, slowly filling the hall with a thick black smoke. The blazes also started in earnest in every part of the house. I can already feel the heat seeping from the rooms I've set aflame. In a matter of minutes, flames will engulf the whole house. Fittingly, that is when she appears again before us, watching us from the top of the stairs, while her world goes up in flames around her. However, what catches my eyes is the expression on her face. Not the vile smile I've already grown accustomed to, but the one where her eyes gleam with complete hatred. This one. Forlorn is the only word I can think of to describe it.
No, please. Help me. Help me, please.
Can the dead still feel? Can she still hear us? Or is that merely another one of her tricks to trap us in this nightmare? Like this, however, she seems almost like the woman she used to be. I have to remind myself she's no longer Hannah. The woman I loved is gone, and who stands before me is nothing but a pale imitation of who she used to be. I don't waste any time pondering over it. Not with the exit just a few steps away. The doors finally open, and through it I can glimpse the world outside. Safety. However, I do turn, if only to see the last of her. A farewell more than anything. For all her attempts to lure me, draw me in, her wishes to be with me, she does not stop me when I finally run from this horrid place. Quietly, she disappears. Watching a multi-million-pound house burn before me, for some reason, nothing about this bothers me. Maybe it's that one last look on her face that has changed it. Maybe it's what I've seen and heard inside. There's only a calm, a stillness. The same hush that comes after a terrible storm that has swept the countryside. And with it is the sight of sun rising above the horizon. Ever so slowly, the sky begins to lighten before my eyes. Darkness giving way to the warm morning hues, soft rays spilling over the vast expanse of Luxborn's countryside. Nearby, the trees sway and rustle with the breeze, a passing draft that carries even into this room from outside, cold enough to make me shiver. The remains of a storm that has passed. In the distance, I can hear the soft chirping of birds while the rest of the world stirs, wakes. Dawn at last. We are free. Okay. Like the flames that engulfed the mansion that night, whispers quickly spread across Luxborn City after the incident. Officers who investigated have simply deemed it an unfortunate accident, resulting in the death of innocent lives. Regardless of the truth, Luke Wright filed criminal charges against Briar Realty Corporation after, for undisclosed reasons to the public, forcing the latter to declare bankruptcy. A move that has merely stoked the rumors further. But for those who still believe in the stories of the old house, and those who know the truth, it is a testament to the curse and the secrets of the Ermengarde mansion as hidden for centuries. There will come a time those will finally be revealed, only the ashes of the now ruined mansion know. However, on nights when the wind howls and the thunder booms across the sky, some still claim hearing of voices where it once stood. Cries and wails that fill the nights and desperate calls of help for anyone who dares listen. As for those who once tread its halls, though Luke Wright has won his legal battle with Briar Realty Corporation, another tech leak places him and Wright Enterprises under the spotlight months later. This time, however, the then Chief Inspector Harvey Lee's sudden absence, the businessman isn't able to escape close scrutiny. In an investigation headed by LPD's Detective Inspector Ashton Frey, all of Wright Enterprises' illegal business dealings within the past 10 years come to light. Though his involvement with other crimes is still being investigated, this disclosure has caused a huge outcry, especially from the city's business sector. Sued on multiple grounds, the company is ultimately forced to shut down. That sucks. Meanwhile, to avoid public outrage, the once affluent businessman immediately leaves the city. All of his bank accounts have been emptied, including his Luxborn apartments, leaving not a single trace or clue where he might be hiding. Last anyone has seen of the man was on a flight bound for Ireland. To this day, no one has heard from him, even his people from the old Wright Enterprises who have all been left to deal with the aftermath. Though, over the past few months, after the situation has calmed, someone made claims of spotting him flitting in and out of the city. If only to check on those he has left behind. Months after her recovery, Marianne McCullough heads back to her homeland, ready to close a chapter of the past she has left hanging for so long. There she visits Lorraine's grave, asking for forgiveness from the girl she once loved, something she has intentionally avoided for years. In spite of this, a different regret still clings to her, one that has been left by what she has witnessed inside the Ermengarde mansion. She never returns to Luxborn after, leaving her interior design company in the hand of her secretary instead. But with her absence, the business eventually declines until they are forced to shut it. Unexpectedly, she turns to music years later, hoping it'll someday drown out the voices and the gruesome memories still lingering in her head. By some stroke of luck, or an unfortunate circumstance of fate, Marianne encounters Luke Wright once again, almost a year after she returned home. She meets the man in the local marketplace, newly settled, fumbling, and confused. Although her opinion of him remains ambivalent, at best, she reluctantly offers help. Especially after seeing him stumble on his Gaelic more times than she deems acceptable. And it becomes a start. Not to a close friendship by any means, but perhaps something akin to it. And on better days, when vitriol and scathing words don't get in the way, there's only the pleasant companionship one offers the other. Casual visits to the other's homes, sharing a bottle of wine or two, and simply talking about anything under the sun. A comfort after their mutual loss. Something they both eventually learn to appreciate with time. In the months that follow, Rebecca Gales becomes a prominent researcher within Luxborn's major academic circles, especially after writing what she had discovered about Anselm Village and the Ermengarde Mansion. With help from Professor Andrew Clark, she was able to secure funding to continue her research, presenting her findings yearly at local and international symposiums. Now at the tail end of her current study, she hopes to publish her first book, correcting all inaccuracies in the city's current history. A move supported by both colleagues, students, and friends alike. Though she knows she still has a long way to go before she can even begin to change people's minds about it, Professor Clark has warned her as much. She perseveres. Doing it not for herself, but for the sake of what has lost after the curse. As fresh as the wounds are still, this is how she remembers. Things have inevitably become strained between Ashton Frey and Rebecca Gales in the months following her confession. And with their lives getting busier, the two eventually drifted apart. Although neither talk about it, and the teacher still strives to forget an old love, it's clear in Rebecca that there are still feelings left she couldn't let go of. If anything, however, this has only made it obvious how much has changed between them, and how much she has clung to the idea of Ashton Frey from their younger days, the one that may not have been there in the first place. Merely an idea for a starry-eyed young girl. But if there will be a time she will be able to accept this, to move on from the hurt and repair an old friendship that has fallen to ruin, only she knows. With her newfound courage, Isabella Santos finally chooses to pursue what she really wants for herself. Having made enough to keep her family afloat for a few years, and their blessing, she quits her job at Brow Realty Corporation and takes a scholarship offer from a local university. Though remarkably out of practice and unsure if she'll be able to keep up by the time she returns to university, she finds her feet soon enough with help from other people close to her. And with her confidence and her skills growing, so do the number of people recognizing her and her work. It doesn't take long for several award-winning giving bodies to take notice of her. For all her accomplishments, however, she's never truly forgotten what happened at the Ermengarde Mansion, nor what she has lost. Images still remain in her, and on particularly unpleasant nights, terrors continue to visit her dreams. She knows those won't ever disappear from her life, has become part of her in the same way death has permanently taken from her. However, she is no longer afraid. With a brave face, she carries on, earnestly wishing that someday she'll be able to paint brighter, more vivid thoughts on her canvas. An honest portrayal of life and hope amidst the fear. Shortly after accepting the scholarship grant from Luxborn University, Isabella moves from Salem-Will Residences in favor of staying in a dorm close to her campus. Though she makes the decision to move out of convenience, she won't deny also doing it out of a desire to avoid another awkward encounter with Rebecca Gales. Following the aftermath of the curse, the relationship between the two girls have turned lukewarm at best. While no harsh words have been exchanged yet, the wordless silences since the incident has only pushed them further apart. Isabella leaves her home of 5 years with a heavy heart, and even though she had jokingly complained about Rebecca's bossy attitude in the past, she confesses missing the woman's fussing. Despite their tense parting, she still carries hope they will one day be able to fix whatever has come between them. But if there will be a chance for it, is a question they both ask until now. Following his success in bringing the Luxborn's first firm case to a close, Ashton Frey receives a recommendation for transfer to Luxborn's lead agency against organized crimes. An endorsement eagerly backed by the newly appointed successor to the late Chief Inspector Lee. He died? How did he die? Abigail Harris. Knowing he'll have more resources, leeway, and a bigger chance at ultimately bringing Luke Wright to justice, Ashton Frey accepts. He still warns the people close to him against Wright and his associates, but only a friendly reminder now, more than any... But he is ultimately brought to justice. This epilogue fucking sucks. Though he does worry, he believes they are wise enough to know what they are doing and trust their judgment. For now, he has decided to leave the evidence and the law to speak for itself and take care of the man once the proper time comes. Nowadays, police work and operations keep him busy, sometimes taking him away from the city he grew up in for days on end. A rare thing for him to enjoy once upon a time, yet this time he never loses his drive. Simply growing more determined after finally finding a clear purpose close to the rush and excitement he dreamed of as a child. Though Ashton still keeps mum about specific details of his work, his experience with the curse has slowly taught him how to open up. Especially to those he knows that genuinely care for him. He still has a long way to go, he knows that, but for the sake of the people who are still with him. Those who have chosen to stay. As well as what he lost. He hopes that there will come a day when he no longer has to hide behind his own lies. A day when he is no longer afraid of facing the truth in his own words. After a bit of fumbling, of a few missteps here and there, and moments of briefly allowing their uncertainties to hang over them, Ashton Frey and Isabella Santos finally find a rhythm. Theirs isn't a soaring love story by any means, nor is it happily ever after, often told in picture books the girl has only ever dreamed of having in childhood. Far from it, in fact. Despite what people glimpse their eyes or glean in their gestures, they both know better than to cling to ideals. Stranger will say they're in love. Hopelessly. Genuinely. And there is certainly truth in it. One only has to look. However, what they never see is this. Beyond the soft smiles, fleeting glances, and gentle touches only meant for the other, is a grief. A terror that never seems to lift. Constantly filling their nights with echoes of an unforgiving wail and unwelcome dreams that stir either awake in darkest hours of dawn. Has never truly left them, and it never will, in the same way the light scar on Ashton's hand will never fully heal, or the horrid images in Isabella's mind will never fade. Light scar on his hand? Whatever. But they cope. In hushed whispers and tender reassurances, with light kisses and long embraces. When that no longer suffices, when the horrors become too much for them to bear, they have each other. Warmth to hold on to in the coldest of nights. And for them, it is more than enough. Okay. Like, maybe I just got like a bad ending. But that shit was fucking stupid. Like, okay. For the sake of the argument, let's just say that I like made all the wrong decisions. Like, if you're gonna get an ending that shitty, then don't even make the game have like branching storyline. It didn't add anything to it. Like, more often than not, I felt like pissed off because I'm like, man, I made a stupid decision, and now it's gonna be shitty. And you know what? It was shitty. And if that's close to the true ending, that's really, really, really shitty. Like what? I just burned the letter instead, and then they go on this big investigation and find out like, oh man, there was this like slave girl and they tortured her and all this shit. Oh, we gotta go to the basement and we gotta use our alchemical circle and we gotta fix what was wrong. I'm like, no. If that was the only decision that I had to make, like, between getting a good ending and that ending, then fuck it, I don't want the good ending. Whatever. That's my rant. Compared to the Scarlet Hollow is like Branching Path, where I don't feel like I'm missing out whenever I make a decision, even if it's a stupid one. There's just whatever. Fuck it, I'm out of here. I'm not even listening to the song. But I did see Inspector Lee's voice as like 3 different people. And I can't believe he died. Whatever, bye.